Good morning, everyone. I want to thank everyone for purchasing iMap for both the iPhone or for the iPad. I'm going to do a tutorial slash demonstration just to show you how to use the basic features of iMap. On the iPad, they work very similar to the iPhone. So if you have this, if you're watching this video and you have the iPhone version, just apply the same theory and practice. So you run from roughly the same code base. There's some slight differences because the iPad has a different screen size. So I'm going to reach down here and fire up iMap. When you see the initial screen, you should see two options: use current location and manual. Use current location basically says I want to use the internal GPS. If you have a 3G version of the iPad, it has a built-in GPS, and iMap will use that to track your location. If you have a Wi-Fi only, make sure that you have your location settings turned on and that you're hooked to your computer's Wi-Fi. There is probably a 50-50 chance that it will get it right. Without the internal GPS, however, it is not as accurate, and sometimes it may just come up with the manual setting. If that is the case, then go ahead and you can put in your home address or wherever your location is by address on the manual setting. It's not optimal, but it's really the only option as a developer that we have to give you to put in the starting address. So we'll go ahead and say we want to use the current location. You'll see here I've chosen all contacts in my contact groups. So in this case, and I'll show you that again, here's contact groups. I said all contacts. It goes through and pulls all the contacts. It pulls these contacts from Apple's address book. If you don't have any contacts in your contact book, obviously it won't show anything here. So you want to make sure and add a few contacts. You can get contacts into iMap, say from Excel if you have those, or from your regular Outlook if you use it, or your Apple's address book. If you have your contacts in Excel, you'll have to import them with the Apple address book program or some program like Microsoft Outlook on the PC. There is no native import feature for Excel. That's something we're considering, but we don't currently have in there today. So you'll see here we have a contacts. The whole purpose of iMap and its design was to show you who is around you and what the distance they are from your location. So if you happen to be in a sales environment and you come out of a meeting and you want to know where you might be able to go for your next meeting or who might be around you, you can use either the map feature or you can use the list feature. I've offered both. And you can see here within 10 miles I have several people that are in my direct vicinity. You can click on one person, and when you click on it, it'll show you a little annotation so you know if you clicked on the right one or not. And then you hit the little blue button and it will pull up details about that particular contact. At that point, if you decide you want to route to the contact, you can just hit directions and it will pull up the Google Maps program that Apple built in to find program. It does routing. If you want to change the stop or change location, you can simply make your changes here. At this point, we're using Apple's program, not iMap. Now, if you're finished with this routing and you want to go directly back, if you're using version 4.2 of the software, you can just double tap the home button on the iPad, hit iMap, and it will quickly pull you right back to where you left off so you can choose another contact or visit another location. Now, if you want to zoom out, these little segment controls up here, you see 25 miles. These are all of my contacts in a 25-mile radius. I can zoom in to different areas and pan around, just like you can with the Google Maps program. I can also hit 50 miles, and it'll zoom back out, and you can see I have close to 2,000 contacts in my address book, so you can see that it shows you all those options as well, or you can even go all the way out and see a worldwide view with the unlimited feature. Now, a few options for our friends overseas. We've recently added in version 3. You can toggle up here where you can change from miles to kilometers. I've had a large number of people request that. And you can turn on and off this direction display. The direction display basically allows you to have somewhat of I guess we'd call it a compass setting. In the list view, you can see here I just have regular mileage here. If I turn on the excuse me, the direction display, you'll see on the right hand side, you'll see north, south, east, west. And this basically organizes your contacts in a way so you can tell what direction and heading they are from where you're located. If you're working as perhaps a sales manager, or you have to organize your contacts by groups, and you do a search and say, we'll just pick everybody 10 miles from me. I added the feature here where you can go into and click an envelope. It'll pull up the ability for you to send these contacts to, say, a manager or somebody else that may have an interest in those. It's a great way to be able to get those contacts out of iMap and maybe perhaps for a search you've done. Now, a few other features. If you go into contact groups, here you'll notice that I've used the groups feature to segregate a couple of groups. I'll come down here to business group of 5. It doesn't show anything. I have nobody in 10 miles, but I'll hit unlimited, and you'll notice I have test users set up here everywhere from 99 miles away to 1,600 miles away. If I show those on a map, you'll quickly see they're representative all over the country. So you can use iMap to organize the groups feature to organize or subcategory different contacts that you may have for different features. So if you're in sales, or if you have restaurants or hotels, anything that you pulled in, you can set them up with the groups feature and minimize what you have for what you show on the screen. You can also do, if you scroll to the very bottom, there's the option for finding a person with a company or a name. If you pull this up and go into the list view, you'll get a box. Now here, I'm looking through all my contacts. I'm just going to tap here, and I'm going to type in my own name, Stephen. Should pull, and now it pulls up. If you'll notice, it pulls up a listing of all the Stevens that I have in my address book. Very, very handy. It'll search by either company or by name, and that's a great way to also subcategorize your contacts. If you want to use a certain company name or a tag, you can do that as well. Now, it is very important when you add new contacts to your database, you also see a button at the top right here where my finger is above the unlimited. That button is designed to refresh. It will delete your existing cache file of contacts and allow you to update those and relook them up. Just a note, Google only allows you to do 2,500 lookups a day from the same IP address. So if you run that, if you have a lot of contacts and you run that more than the 2,500 contact lookup, it will start giving you erroneous data, and you'll either have to find another place to Wi-Fi to set your iPad up on, or you'll have to wait until the next business day. I'm sorry, that's a factor of Google. Nothing that we can do about that, but I did want to point that out. So now, one additional feature I want to point out is when you have contacts that you look up, if you, we'll go back to all contacts, and we'll zoom in to 10 miles. We'll pick a contact. One of the new features in version 3 is you can pull up the contact. You see directions here. You can email the contact. You can also add notes. If you add a note to this product, I have a note here, this will actually time and date stamp a note and push it back into the notes field of your contacts on iMap. It's a great feature. It's kind of a poor man's CRM, if you will, but it's a way for you to quickly add notes to contacts you have in iMap without having to leave this and go back and find the contact. I hope you've enjoyed this quick tutorial, and if you have any additional questions, please feel free to email me at info@imap4u.com. Thank you very much, and we appreciate your purchase. Take care.